There once was a meadow where all thoughts went to sleep. It wasn't any kind of ordinary place. No, sir. And when you walked inside, time seemed to slow down, stretch out, and melt away like wax on a baker's hands. Thoughts wandered off on their own and did not return. But there was magic there, a kind of wild peace that settled over you like the dewdrops on the spider webs, sparkling with a beauty that only the very young or the very wise could see. What good were a few moments of calm when dragons to slay and damsels to rescue, battles to win and kingdoms to explore? There was no treasure in that meadow, no riddle to solve, no beast to best. These were the dreamers, the ones who saw magic in the mundane, who heard whispers on the wind and found comfort in the rustling leaves. They were the ones who understood the language of the meadow and knew how to listen to its ancient songs. Just grasshoppers and daisies and the wind whispering secrets to the reeds. It had seen countless seasons come and go, watched the stars wheel and change in the heavens above. Here, worries unfurled like weary travelers, shedding their burdens at the edge of the meadow and melting away into the tall grass. Fears took on the shape of playful kittens, chasing each other in circles until they tumbled into heaps of contented purrs, and it held within its heart a wisdom that was as deep as the roots that anchored it to the earth. Butterflies danced from flower to flower, their wings like stained glass windows catching the sunlight, and they stood for a moment frozen in time, as if the very essence of the forest had been distilled into these graceful creatures. Time melted away, and you lost track of the hours as you sat there in a state of blissful contemplation. And then with a flick of their white tails, they vanished into the undergrowth. Bees hummed a lazy tune as they gathered pollen, and dragonflies chased each other in aerial ballet, their shimmering bodies leaving trails of light in their wake. The shadows lengthened and stretched like fingers reaching towards the horizon, and the air grew cooler, carrying with it the scent of pine and damp earth. And as darkness fell, the meadow was transformed into a realm of enchantment. And when it was time to leave, you carried with you the serenity of the meadow, knowing that you could always return to its sheltering embrace whenever your soul needed rest. Perhaps the answers you sought were hidden in plain sight. The world might have spun faster and faster, but you didn't have to be a part of its frantic race. It was a place where time stood still, where worries melted away, and where the soul could finally rest. You could step off the treadmill, close your eyes and listen to the ancient song of the earth, waiting for you to discover them in the rustling leaves and babbling brooks, in the starry skies and moonlit meadows. The birds fell silent, and the only sound that broke the stillness was the gentle sigh of the wind. The owls hooted softly, their haunting calls echoing through the trees, and the moon, a silver disk in the inky black sky, cast its silvery light upon the sleeping meadow. And before long, every visitor found themselves wrapped in the hush of sleep. You were simply a being of pure consciousness, enveloped in the tranquility of the present moment. Mostly children, they chased butterflies and dreamed of faraway lands. You were part of this grand tapestry of existence, woven together by the invisible threads of life. For in this place, sadness had no power to linger. It couldn't take root in the fertile soil of the meadow, for it was a place where only joy and contentment were allowed to grow. And the murmur of the wind, you felt yourself surrendering to a rhythm that was older and wiser than your own. You were part of something greater, connected to the very pulse of the earth. Breathing in the scent of wildflowers and the sweet fragrance of ripening grain, they would lie back, watching the clouds scudding across the sky, taking on shapes and colors from their imaginations, and they would fall asleep with a smile upon their lips. It was a realm untouched by the ticking clocks and relentless calendars of human society, where the sun measured the hours by the way it shifted across the sky. The meadow was still, so still that if you stood in the middle of it and clapped your hands together twice, the sound would hang in the air like a bell, echoing endlessly until it faded into nothingness. To get there, you had to walk beyond the bend of a quiet path, where willow branches dipped low and brushed the ground with their fingertips kissing the earth, with such gentleness that not even a butterfly would dare flutter between them without waking the slumbering leaves. It was a secret place, hidden behind a curtain of willows. Nobody rushed through this meadow. In fact, everyone who found it simply lay down in the tall grass and breathed. Worries got sleepy there. Now, you might be thinking that the meadow sounded boring, and I wouldn't blame you for that thought at all. And yet most people hurried past its entrance without ever knowing. Because what's a little meadow, even a magical one, compared to the adventures that awaited around every bend. So who were the ones who stopped to rest their weary heads upon its grassy floor? But sometimes, just sometimes, it was the adults who stumbled upon the meadow, seeking solace from the storms that raged within their souls. For the meadow was old, older than the hills that cradled it, older than the river that sang nearby. It welcomed all who sought its peace, offering them a sanctuary from the noise and chaos of the world. And as for sorrows, they became part of the landscape itself, fading into the distant hills like mist upon the horizon. Here, beneath the canopy of ancient trees, time flowed at its own gentle pace. And when you lay in that meadow, listening to the symphony of birdsong in that moment, you were free from the constraints of your everyday life, free from the expectations and obligations that weighed you down. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, you watched with wonder as the meadow came to life. A family of deer emerged from the trees, their coats glistening in the dappled sunlight all around you. The symphony of nature played out its timeless melody, and you were simply a listener, a silent observer of the beauty that unfolded before your eyes. You felt a profound sense of connection with everything around you, with the soaring birds and the scurrying ants, with the rustling leaves and the babbling brook. As the day began to wane, the meadow transformed once more. The first stars began to appear, pricking the darkening sky like tiny diamonds scattered carelessly across a velvet cloth. Fireflies blinked their lights, creating a magical spectacle that seemed straight out of a fairy tale. You stayed there as long as you could, soaking up the magic of the night, feeling the peace that settled over you like a soft blanket. Perhaps you didn't need to understand the ways of the world, the intricacies of politics or the complexities of human relationships. Maybe it was time to slow down, to stop chasing illusions and start embracing the simple truths that nature had been whispering all along. You could seek solace in the quiet strength of the mountains, find comfort in the gentle flow of the river, or lose yourself in the enchanting beauty of the meadow where all thoughts go to sleep.